Hey y'all. Today B is for Balaam. A lot of information, so I'll probably talk very fast and I'll just highlight some things you need to know. So he can be found in Numbers chapters 22 through 24, but he's also mentioned in a few, 6 or 7 other books in the Bible in the Old and New Testament. So here's the scene. The Jews have been wandering 40 years. They are camped in the plains of Moab, and they are on one side of the Jordan River, and on the other side of the Jordan is the Promised Land. But now the king of Moab, who is camped next to the Jews with all of his people, he's worried about these Jews that have just come in and camped next to him. You know, there's millions of them. They get into wars. They have a reputation of being blessed. They win every war they're in, and they eat everything in sight. So he's thinking, I need to get these people cursed, and then me and my army can take them on. So he knows about this prophet that can be hired. And that's exactly where Balaam comes in. Balaam is a real prophet. However, he's a wicked prophet, and he can be bought like a hitman, right? So the king sends word, I'm going to give you lots of money. Please come and curse these Jews. Now, Balaam's going to play hard to get, well, let me sleep on it and see what God has to say about this. And God is very specific. He says, Balaam, do not go with these people. Do not curse my people. My people are blessed. And Balaam says, permission, I'm going. And that's what he does. He loads up his donkey, starts heading to Moab. And somewhere along the journey, an angel of the Lord appears with a big sword to stop the donkey. Now, the donkey can see the angel, but Balaam cannot. And 3 times this donkey gets stopped by the angel, and 3 times Balaam beats that donkey. After the 3rd time, God gives this donkey the gift of voice, and she turns her head and says, why are you beating me? I've been a loyal companion. I've taken you wherever you wanted to go. And I mean, what would you do if your donkey started speaking to you, right? But Balaam, he is so consumed with getting to where he's got to go so he can get that big paycheck. And he says, if I had a sword right now, I'd kill you. And at that point, God lifts that veil off of Balaam's eyes, and Balaam sees the angel. He gets on his knees, but he's not real repentant. It's kind of like, oh, is this a sign? Should I go back? Do you want me to go back? And the angel says, why are you beating your donkey? If this donkey would have moved forward, I would have killed you, but I would not have killed the donkey. This donkey saved your life on this day. And Balaam says, all right, already, I got the memo. I'll go back. And the angel says, no, you're going to go forward, but you're only going to say what God wants you to say. So he's like, whoa, I'm back in the money, So he gets to Moab, and the idea is to go to high places so that the Jews can see him and hear him. Now, high places, it's very interesting that they use this term, because when the Jews worshiped other idols, they go outside of Jerusalem to the high places to worship other idols. These aren't the real Christians. Of course, they're not Christians back then, but high places is a place of evil. It's where evil happens. So here is Balaam on a high place, and he starts his first curse, and he's saying, I caramba, you people are blessed. Y'all are wonderful. Y'all are going to profit in everything you do. Your kids are all going to be gorgeous. And did I just say that? Well, 3 times that happens. 3 times he tries to get curses out of his mouth, but only blessings come out and prophecies. And the best prophecy that this evil, wicked man comes out with is that a star will come out of Jacob and a scepter will rise from Israel. So he literally just predicts the birth of our Jesus, right? It's wonderful. And so the king, of course, the king's furious. He sends him home. Go home. You're not getting paid. And Balaam, I'm sorry. He says, I didn't come all this way for nothing. I need to salvage some of this. And he kind of puts a whisper into the king's ear. He says, look, I can't curse those Jews. But the Jews are notorious for cursing themselves. So this is what you should do. You're camped right next to them. Start introducing some other idols that they can worship. Start introducing foods that aren't dedicated to their gods. And a prostitution won't hurt either. And that's what the king does. And he starts introducing these things slowly into the Jewish camp, and the Jews partake of it. And God's wrath, he comes down on them pretty hard, and 24,000 Jews get killed. But God blames Balaam for this, and that is quite evident in how Balaam is described in Jude, in Peter, Revelation. So how this is talked about is that it's referred to as the Balaam doctrine, and it's this subtle whisper that comes into the back door of the church, and this evil that starts infiltrating our church. And so all of a sudden the preacher is preaching that we should be following man's law instead of God's law. And, 2 years you're into this church, 3 years, and all of a sudden, you realize the church is in the wrong direction. So it's a slow, steady, backdoor, subtle type of devil creep. It's also these bad thoughts that you get in your mind, that make you think bad thoughts of people or about yourself. And that's the Balaam doctrine. It's false teaching. It's false doctrine. So you need to read the Bible and know what's true, because Balaam's doctrine, false teaching, it will get you in trouble, So read the Bible and know what's true, and God will keep you away from those false teachings. So Balaam winds up dying by the hands of the Jews that he tried to curse in one of the last battles that they will ever do before they get to the promised land. And I think what God wants us to get out of this is that don't ever be a Balaam, ever. You don't want to curse the Jews, and you don't want to hang out with anybody that curses the Jews. And you know what? You might one day have to be a talking donkey. If you're hanging out with somebody and they're trying to lead you down a wrong path, speak up, tell them this is the right way. This is what we should be doing. And you just might save his life. Words are very powerful, So B is for Balaam out of Numbers chapters 22 through 24. Have a wonderful, wonderful day and blessings.